Okay, here is the plan, guys. So I need to set up a tank inside for the new turtle named Petey because he's not really eating, and that's partly because he's in a new environment and partly because he's kind of sickly. So I wanted to make sure he's eating and get him healed up and everything. I've only had him for a little while now. I'd say a week or 2 or 3, something like that. I have the dates in my phone, but I'm just not sure of them. And I was just going to set up this 30-gallon that I have on the 40-gallon stand here, and I thought I had made it so the 30-gallon could fit up here, but I forgot to put bars right here, so I will be doing that. But the problem with that is, even if I did have the bars there, this isn't going to fill this whole area, right? So I'm trying to make sure I use all my space properly. So I was thinking, what am I going to be doing in the future in this room? Like what other, I don't want to set up stuff and then have to move it all around. I'd like to think about the future. So eventually the 75-gallon will be going back in here, and I might move it back out during the summer next year, but for winter it'll definitely be in here. And then the plan is that the 20-gallon that was up there will also be going back in here, probably down here, right? So there we have a 20-gallon, and then we have the 30-gallon here, a 30-gallon there, and then nothing up there, 75-gallon there. So the 20-gallon won't be in here for a while, but it will be in here once Teddy becomes of size. Speaking of, I recently weighed Teddy, and he is bigger, so that's good. He's been growing, and that's what he should be doing. So here's what I was thinking. So this can hold a 55-gallon, and I actually can hold the 75-gallon, but it can hold a 55-gallon. So I want to obviously optimize the area. So if I had a 30-gallon here and a 30-gallon there, I'd have all this space over here, or I could put the 20-gallon there, but whatever. I would have space that I can't use for anything else, right? So what I'm thinking is, what we do is we put those two supports there, right? And then we put a support beam here, and then we put stuff on the top like this, because that would just make sense, so then that this stand can hold other things than just a 40-gallon, because the only 40-gallon I have can only hold 20 gallons of water. And then, or a 30-gallon, it can hold, a bunch of different things, like whatever, like small stuff. It can basically act as a table. So here's what I'm thinking. This tank will be going on top of here, and then the 20-gallon will be going down there, 75-gallon there, and then a 55-gallon right here. So by the time that it comes along to winter, then Norman will be going into the 55-gallon, which Norman's the mean turtle that can't go with any other turtles, so he's alright. He's not a big turtle, and he won't have any fish in with him. Or he is a pretty big turtle. He's like 7-something inches, but a 55-gallon should be alright. And then down here can be the 75-gallon, and that can have Petey because he's recovering, and Brandy because she won't be able to be in any kind of cold because she's more of a tropical turtle. So is Norman, by the way. So then what we're going to do is, I think in our attached garage, which it doesn't get as cold as it is outside, but it still gets cold, we're going to set up the 300-gallon with the turtles and a heater, and then we'll also have like a heat light and everything, or two, like we get it as hot as we can, so then they have a little basking area still outside in the unattached garage. And I think that's the plan. So then everything will end up being filled up and used properly. So what does that mean right now? That means that this tank obviously isn't going to work in anything, except it's going to be working as what I'm going to take is all this stuff is going to be going into this tank for now. What's going to happen is I'm going to set up this 30 gallon right here. Okay, then this tank still needs a lot of work. So this tank is going to be moved somewhere. I'll just set it somewhere, like down there or something, you know, wherever, like even down there. Doesn't really matter, as long as it has light, then Darwin should be good. And then while that is right there, I can figure out how to make that so it will fit onto this size tank, the plant, and then the goldfish and PD can go into there. And then I can wash PD's tank, make sure there's not algae or anything, and then get it presentable. So then I can move the 55 gallon right here, and then this will be situated. Then in the meantime, this will be all done. So then I can move that there, and then I'll just have to wait till I need the 20 gallon to be moved back in, which is a 20 gallon tall that will be going down there, and that's the plan. So I hope that's not too confusing, but right now I'm going to move this and put that up there. By the way, that other tank back there is Michael's leopard gecko tank that I made for him, and he will be getting that as soon as he comes to get it or I go drop it off. I just need to work that out with him. So it's all done, and it's just sitting here. It doesn't really matter where it is. Okay, so first I went out, cut the 3 pieces that I need, and then painted them black, and then later that day, once they were dry, then I brought them in and screwed them into the stand, and this will be for structural support, and also so if I put the 30 gallon on here or any other tank, that the corners will be properly supported. And then on top of these, there will be going a by the way, I didn't feel like painting over the nails, so that's why I put the nails in sideways, so then I wouldn't have to worry about it. Then we put a top. My dad helped me with that because it has to be like, there's a certain like trim around it that I wanted, like on the iguana's tank, and I don't know how to use that type of machine. Then I moved the gecko's tank on top of it, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I did this. Plans changed while I was working, so basically I didn't have time to properly think about what I wanted, like I said in the beginning of the video. So what I should have done is set up PD's tank in the first place onto that stand, because I figured that I was going to be setting it up before I was done with the stand, but I was done with the stand faster than I thought, and you know, a lot of things didn't connect in my brain while I was working on this. But I temporarily set it up and got PD in it. Okay, so now I will take PD, who's been waiting here for a little while, and I will put him on the basking area right here, and then he can go into the tank whenever he wants to. And now I'm going to go out to the garage and figure out something to use as a filter. Okay guys, so this turtle got out today while we were at church. It was in here this morning. We had to find it. It's fine now. But I'm going to be moving this tank because here's the plan, right? So I was going to set up the 55 gallon here. I don't want to do that. I want to leave the goldfish there and then have this in a separate tank, and I might completely go back on that very soon. It's a very big possibility because I might end up not having this tank any longer, but we'll see. I'll probably have it still, but now I'm just going to switch these 2 tanks because this tank isn't getting any light there, and like I said, if I do end up getting rid of this tank for whatever reason, then I'll just, you know, go back on what I said and set up the 55 gallon here and then figure out some type of light system for there, but I'm just going to switch them right now. Oh, I took Darwin's tank off of the stand and put it onto my bed, and then I drained PD's tank down, and then I just kind of slid PD's tank off onto the other stand because it was directly below, and then started filling it back up, and I rigged a system so then PD couldn't get out of his tank any longer, and I put Darwin's tank back. Okay, so now everything is where it should be. I put all this stuff around his cage, so hopefully he'll not be able to get out, because if he gets out from the front, it won't be too much of a problem. I just don't want him to fall back there, because I feel like there's more, I mean, like if he gets out in the front, then he's going to fall here, and then he's going to fall down there. If he gets out back there, he's going to fall all the way down onto metal, so that wouldn't be good. And I don't think he'll come out in the front. I think that he climbed on top of this last time, and this is also lower than it was before. So that's good. And then over here, I switched this fish tank around, so now it is, you know, this way, which gives me more space here for whatever. And over here, is better because, or the plants are better because, you know, all the light's going right down like that. And then I like this being better here because I can actually see into it. So I might have to put that here in the future, but I'll figure out something with lighting. I can go buy something or whatnot. So yeah. Okay, so just so this makes sense, the original plan was to have a 55-gallon up here. I was going to put all the stuff on there, on top of the 55-gallon, and then also put Petey's tank. By the way, Petey's out on the back porch. I have him like basking so then he can get natural sunlight and everything, and that's why I have him out there, so then he can dry out properly because he doesn't really want to bask by himself. So that's where he is. So the original plan was to have the 55-gallon right there. Then I decided off of that idea because that's a really big tank and I really didn't need to do that, and I kind of like having this as a small system so then I can show you guys what you guys can do, if that makes sense. Like, make it more relatable, basically. Make a really easy aquaponics that I even did. And I am not good at growing plants besides terrariums, but I mean, you see them there, so I guess I'm doing something right. So that was the original idea, and then I would need light for that because it has those. So I figured it'd be fine if I just put the gecko's tank right here. Well, actually, this area gets very little light from the top from those two things, but this tank gets light because it gets light through the back from the window, so that's completely fine. So basically, once I had got it all set up and plans had changed, it made a heck of a lot sense to then switch them again. So I wish I would have thought of that earlier, but I didn't. And also, I don't expect to be getting rid of this tank at all. What I'm thinking is that, like I said, the 55-gallon will be going here eventually, just not right now. So what I might do is eventually this might be going down there, which has a light and everything, and then this might be turned into a terrarium, or I can go with what I said before and have this here and then a 20-gallon down there. Basically, plans will change, stuff will happen. I don't know what's going to happen. My room changes all the time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, put in the comments below. And if you want more content, then subscribe. By the way, I got PD to eat like a bunch, and I'm super excited about that because that's the whole point I put him in here. And he's been, you know, I've been watching him and he's been doing well and interacting with everything. He's just not basking for some reason, so I kind of have to force him to do that. But that's all right. I like spending time with him. He's so tiny and cute. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video.